So other components of ecosystems include the consumers. So what do they consume? Consumers consume producers as well as other consumers. So organisms such as animals and zooplankton are organisms that we refer to as heterotrophic. Remember, producers are autotrophic or self-feeding. Consumers are heterotrophic. They feed on others. And consumers rely on the cellular process of cellular respiration in order to acquire energy. Okay, and this helps them to break down large organic food molecules in food to harvest the energy. Well, what does this sound like? It sort of sounds like the opposite of photosynthesis, which essentially that's what it is, again, in summary. And this process requires oxygen. So if we look at the equation for cellular respiration, again, it looks like the opposite of photosynthesis. But we have to remember that it's not that producers do photosynthesis and consumers do cellular respiration, because producers, such as plants, also need to respire. Remember that they make this chemical energy for their own growth and metabolism, not just to be benevolent to animals. Okay, so the fact that plants also respire is an important thing to remember. Okay, what does cellular respiration look like? Okay, again, it looks like the opposite of photosynthesis. So we have the glucose molecule over here, okay, plus it requires oxygen. We can think of oxygen as burning these molecules in order to release energy, because now we want energy to be released within cells so it can go around and do cellular work. Okay, so glucose is burned or combines with oxygen, or oxygen is used to help this process to eventually release carbon dioxide again as a byproduct. When you exhale, what are you breathing off? You're breathing off primarily carbon dioxide, right? Water vapor, and then releasing ATP energy, which is the small units of energy that can go around in a cell and do work. So you can look at glucose as like $1,000 bills and ATP like the nickel. So we want to break down that large molecule and release and harvest it in small packets that can be distributed around a cell to do this kind of work. And again, just like we talked about for photosynthesis, this is a summary equation that summarizes dozens and dozens of biochemical reactions that occurs within the mitochondria of cells. Okay, so remember, photosynthesis took place within and across chloroplast membranes. Cellular respiration occurs within the mitochondria and across mitochondrial membranes. Okay, so now we're beginning to see how ecosystems function or are put together. Okay, so notice up here, and this is kind of like the cell biologist worldview of an ecosystem. Okay, because up here we have plants with their chloroplasts, and photosynthesis is happening, right? So what does photosynthesis do? It provides these large organic molecules, starting with glucose, okay, producing oxygen as well. Okay, so glucose and oxygen can be used by other cells, the cells of animals, the cells of plants, the cells of any heterotrophic organism, right? Within the mitochondria, that glucose energy is going to be metabolized, going to be used in order to release ATP energy that's going to be used for cellular work. And some of the excess energy is going to be released as heat. That's part of what's keeping your body warm. Okay, and so the carbon dioxide and water that is produced as a result of cellular respiration, that CO2 that you exhale that's released into the atmosphere, well, that's available for plants to take in through the pores in their leaves so that they can use that CO2, again, those small organic molecules, those little beads, they're going to use that CO2 and build it back into large organic molecules through the process of photosynthesis. And so we have this cycling that's taking place: photosynthesis, respiration, photosynthesis, respiration. That's the way in which ecosystems, in a nutshell, are functioning.